Welcome back, everyone, from the Protoss versus Terran. Hopefully you guys enjoy that. I'm back here with HuShang, and we're going to be talking a bit about your team, because I've got to say, man, I'm familiar with your team, but I think a lot of people out there may not be as familiar with Deadly Gaming. So tell us, what is Deadly Gaming?
According to Baby and I, we're a bunch of deadly boys. But it's basically just like, we were pretty competitive before, but most people are either in like Diamond StarCraft now, or they're playing other games, or maybe like too busy with real life and stuff. So it's mostly just like a bunch of friends on Skype. And then there's I don't know if you've heard of Deadly Gaming's Epic. He's like another really good Terran. He was in Masters like rank 1 just a couple hours ago with like over 250 more points than rank 2, and they just got promoted to like rank 30 GM. So he's really good, but he doesn't ladder on an A, and like not many people know who he is. Mm-hmm. So it's like me and him are the only GM, so we'll like carry the team really hard. And then like we have, you probably know of him, Zerzinski or Zerzin, whatever how his name is pronounced. Yeah, he's like the most frustrating guy to play against in the whole fucking world, because he goes into the game and he's not one of those guys that's like, I'll just see how it goes, and like if it gets to late game, it gets to late game. He's like, let's see, I got like 4 hours, so that should be enough time for like 1 or maybe 2 games. And then like in Clan Wars, we'll be joking in Skype and it'll be like, yeah man, we're sitting out Jazinski, and it's like we're gonna wear him down so that the rest of us, so he's like tired when he gets to us. Oh my god. So that's pretty fun. But yeah, we talk on Skype every day, even when I was on different teams. This is like the Skype channel where I just talk to people.
So do you get actually a lot of practice from these guys that you actually hang out with and talk with on Skype? Or
I practice with Alex sometimes, but that's about it, because the other guys, like I said, they're either Diamond or low Masters. Mm-hmm. Some actually we have one Zerg that's pretty decent that I practice with sometimes too. And apart from that though, I usually just ladder. I practice with Shakti sometimes. You know him?
Yeah.
The Brazilian Hope, Shakti. He's pretty good friend of mine.
So most of your practice comes from ladder. Not really, just like not a fan of the custom games. Too much like trouble to find players, or.
I love customs. Customs are like so much better than ladder, but the problem is that on NA, mm-hmm. Everyone's lazy, and if you ask for practice, they'll like be like, man, I'm laddering right now. It's like impossible to get practice. And then if you do get practice, it's like no regret. But he's like on a Smurf or something, and he's like, yeah man, I'll practice with you. And then you play him, he's like 10 pulling every game and like speed all ins, and you're like, I'm trying to fucking learn, and this no regret guy just keeps speeding all in me. So sometimes you get good practice. Like do you know NeuroString?
Yeah, Neuro.
That guy's super chill. I practice with him a bunch. I used to practice with EGK. He's also in Breaking Out. But the problem with practicing with EGK is you want to work on your like 3-base play, mm-hmm. and like getting all your timings right and making sure you don't die to pressure. And then you play EGK and he's like straight to 20 minutes, like 3 E-base. Like there's no 3 Terran upgrades, but he still gets 3 E-base and like 4 command centers off 2 base.
It's like over.
And like never attacks until like 40 minutes in the game, and it's like, come on, man.
Does Deadly Gaming like offer you anything else?
Well, with my Deadly Gaming contract, I got like a free McDonald's meal every weekend, and then like apart from that, it's like mental support and stuff. Yeah, it's pretty good. I often get like an occasional Astro conversation, we call it, which is like a super fucking like non-K. So you're in like a social environment and you're supposed to like behave in this certain manner, and then you got like an Astro conversation, which is basically like a conversation that has like, it shouldn't be involved in any social conversation ever. Because it's like, I don't even want to like go into what we talk about, because they're just like super fucking weird.
And do you feel like you have any rivals? Let's move on to that question.
Ooh, I keep telling EGK he's my rival, but he's like, nah man, we're not rivals. We're rivals.
Is it like he doesn't feel like you're at his level, or?
I don't know. I think he's just like, he keeps saying that like Flash and Jadon are his rivals, because he wants to set the bar high. So I guess he thinks I'm under his level or whatever, but we're rivals.
He just thinks that you're under Flash and Jadong. I mean, come on, man, step up your game. Why aren't you Flash or Jadong?
Yeah. No, he's got like a similar mindset to me, where it's like, I shouldn't make like if I'm playing an NA player that's like
Hmm.
rank 120 or something like that, you should treat them as if they're like a Korean pro, because that way you're not like maybe you beat them, but you
Hmm.
still make tons of mistakes. Like you're not Korean, so
Yeah.
you still have to improve those, even if you won.
I know that we discussed this earlier on, but you actually haven't really been playing on the ladder with your actual real ID until fairly recently. So, have you actually been trying to make a name for yourself out in the North American scene?
Yeah, so before I was around 140 GM, and then I decided that I wanted to get my skill level up to like at least top 50 before I played on my account again. So I started playing on a barcode, and I think the barcode made it a lot easier to like practice without stress or whatever. So I went, and also because I was practicing like a shit ton. So I went from like 120 GM to like rank 50 in a week or two because I was just practicing so much. And then I still had like another 2 weeks. So then I got all the way up to like rank 16. And I was like, damn, okay, maybe I can practice on my actual account now.
Yeah, so I guess going back to the question, do you feel like, or have you been trying to make an active effort to get your name out there in the scene? Or are you pretty much just kind of playing and saying when your results are good enough, you'll get more well known?
Yeah, so I felt like I needed to be at a level where I could beat top five NA players before I
Hmm.
actually competed in tournaments or whatever. I didn't want to compete in tournaments when I was below that, because then people would like see you and they'd be like, "Oh man, he's an average player because he keeps losing, right?"
Hmm.
So if I can get like top 16 or whatever MMR, and then I just start playing on my actual name and people just see you winning all the time, then it looks way better, right? So that was my plan, just to like not participate in tournaments for a little bit and then look like I'm actually really good, because then it like it just sets the bar higher, and they don't see you playing bad as much.
I mean, it's an
It's a
interesting
strategy.
take. It's an interesting strategy. I gotta say, man, it kind of worked. Kind of at least worked for this, man. I kind of like you sort of came out of nowhere in terms of my radar, and I was like, whoa, this guy's pretty good. He's beating some good players. Let's talk about Protoss versus Protoss, man, because I know that you said you have quite a bit to say about this matchup. How are you feeling about this one, man?
Okay, so I like this matchup, but there's some parts that are really like obnoxious to play against, because like my type of thought process in StarCraft is to play perfectly, right?
Hmm.
So if I open a certain way, I want to like make sure that I don't die to certain things. I'm scouting like everything, so that way there's no way that I can lose, right?
Hmm.
Which means that it's harder to get higher up in skill level, but it improves your skill level slower but more solidly. So if you're a player like Puck who just plays a ton of games, he gets really good late game and like really good mid game, but it's super patchy. Whereas I try to like focus on just building it up slowly. So my like maybe my early game's perfect and then my mid game's almost perfect, and then late game's like still a bit patchy. I need to work on it. But in PvP, what happens is that if you're a player that doesn't try to be perfect, say you take an expansion really fast, then you're going to be really far ahead unless your opponent plays perfect and kills you, like if you're being greedy. So say I open like Blink or something and my opponent opens fast expansion, I have to do this like perfect plan in order to win. Like I'll win 100% if I do it right. But if I don't do it right, then suddenly they're like super far ahead. So you'll play someone that's making lots of mistakes, but you don't know how to punish them.
Hmm.
So they end up getting like really high on Grandmaster ladder, even though they're actually not playing like perfectly. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
So like PvP is really stupid like that because it's really hard to punish people. So like a lot of people will do like super risky builds, pilly, and then you'll like kill them, and then but if you don't scout them, or you like make a small mistake, like maybe your mothership core misses a nexus or something, then you can just end up like getting super far behind and losing the game. So that's really frustrating in PvP. But I think PvT is my worst. PvP is fine. I just stay away from certain openings,
Hmm.
and I like if I scout properly, then I usually win. But
Hmm.
if I miss key information, then your opponent's usually like almost always on NA they're playing greedy. So if I don't scout perfectly, then I lose, which is really frustrating. But
Well,
overall, the matchup's pretty decent, especially if I open Blink. It's mostly Phoenix that I like start losing because I haven't played that too much.
okay, so sounds like you're not feeling great about certain aspects of it, but you still feel okay in it. You still feel relatively okay. And the second thing that I'm gathering is that you're trying to play a style that if you can play it perfectly, you'll win more often than not, rather than taking risks that rely on your opponent not playing perfectly. Would you say that's kind of accurate? You're relying on yourself playing perfectly and not expecting your opponent to make mistakes?
I try to play like Korean builds because I know that the Koreans have already figured out that like this build will beat this build if you play it exactly this way. So I know that these builds are the actual builds you should be using, not like Nexus Expand into Twilight or something random that I see on NA. It's like, God fucking damn it, dude! I can just kill you right now. But then you like don't scout it, so then you it's so frustrating. But then you'll actually see like good players. Like I think the standard builds that are actually solid are like anything tech plus 3 gates, unless it's DT. DT is a bit different, but like Stargate, 3 gate, or like Blink 3 gate. Those builds can pretty much beat any expand build as long as you play them properly.
Gotcha. So if you had to identify one strength and one weakness in the matchup, what would those two things be?
My weakness is late game because you can't attack in PvP ever. If you attack, you lose. Like I'm not even kidding. So once it gets to like 3 or 4 base, oftentimes I'll be like, oh, I'm just gonna like get war prisms everywhere and attack, but it's like terrible. And you should just like, I think PvP is the weirdest matchup because the less you do, the better it is. As long as you focus on like micro engagements. So like if you're a really good player and you can use all your skills to like do drops everywhere and like DTs are running all over the map and stuff. If you play it perfectly, it's good. But it's so tiny, the advantage that you would gain, that it's just better to watch your army like 90% of the time. So that's my weakness, and my strength is probably mid game. Like if I play the builds that I know really well and my opponent makes even like a single mistake, I'll just like attack them and win and like punish them. I was playing Pilly yesterday and he kept like being greedy, so I just like make units and go attack and then win like 4 times. Oh, that's pretty funny.
All right, man. Well, it sounds like you already kind of know, like you want for the Breakout Invitational, Peely in your group so that you can punish him. Maybe EJK because he'll play super no.
I don't want EJK. Definitely not.
Okay. You don't want to like try and punish him for going like.
I'll probably
3
if I play EJK, my studying's gonna go way down because like that'll be like a 4-hour match. So that won't be good.
Wonderful. Maybe you can get some practice with Deezer Hinsky again.
Oh shit! No, he plays mech, so it won't be like that.
All right. Well, fair enough.
Lots of Zergs would be nice.
Lots of Zergs. Well, good season to come in then. But we're going to be jumping into the Protoss versus Protoss, ladies and gentlemen. Don't go anywhere. We will be right back.
It's game time! Protoss versus Protoss.
Welcome to the Protoss versus Protoss, ladies and gentlemen. Once again, joined by Jack Attack, and we're going to be spawning down here in the bottom left-hand corner of the map. We have the blue Protoss player. It is Soul.
And in the top right, we have our player of speciality. We have our focus of the day. We have the red HuShang. He's red twice. He's very red. Look at that. He's embarrassed. He's full of tomatoes.
Very red. I'm actually surprised that he's on Deadly Gaming, not Team Red Bloods, because Team Red Bloods is definitely a team.
Definitely a team. We just confirmed that. It happened off stream, but it was real.
I had like a moment of doubt where I couldn't find like the Red Bloods Liquipedia page, and I was like, did I make up a team? Wait a second. Oh my god, hold on. HuShang is saying that this is Peely. Okay, so this is Peely. Jack Attack, I was right. I knew that Peely had this clan tag. Oh my god. That's where I've seen this. Wow.
Yep.
Alright, well, ladies and gentlemen, you guys have no idea what I'm talking about. That's probably for the better. I just basically went insane for like 5 minutes before this cast.
That's right. Luckily, we managed to keep you, in control, and you haven't exploded or anything like that yet, so that's good.
Not yet. Just my bladder.
Too much water during the cast. Water is good for you, though. Drink water.
Water is delicious.
Today's broadcast brought to you by water. Drink it or die.
Oh my god, that would be fantastic.
It's
if I
true.
could just get
You do need
by
to
water.
drink it. Yes.
We make water here at H2O.
Here at H2O, you need us to survive.
All right, but Peely actually, because I do want to talk about this. In this since this is a PvP, Peely is another player. First week of breaking out, we actually covered Peely, and he is actually a player that says he feels relatively comfortable with PvP because when he plays on the ladder, as this was probably a ladder game, Peely says he mostly hits Protoss players, and it's really funny because so did HuShang. So I think that these two players have probably played each other a good bit. They're both playing those PvP matchups, and they're both getting some good experience in it. So I'm very interested to see. They both are saying that this is one of the matchups they feel more comfortable in. And when you feel more comfortable in a matchup, you tend to scout out and notice the small, subtle things a little bit better and are able to react a bit better.
Yeah, absolutely. Both players coming out with a fairly similar build here. A little bit earlier Cybernetics core for HuShang.
Yeah. I also want to note Peely investing a bit extra time scouting for proxy gates and a lot of locations, checking over his natural, checking over around his third expansion, even then just moving up and making sure he tags the zone like a watchtower, etc. So really like the kind of diligence that Peely is doing. HuShang maybe feeling a little bit more comfortable.
Yeah, he's not afraid at all.
Yeah.
He's like, come at me with your 2-gate, bro. I will crush you into the ground.
Exactly. Like that. That's the confidence we know. But Twilight Council is actually coming up from both of these guys.
Yep, so we're remaining in the mirrored position. Second gates haven't gone down yet, so going pretty quick tech. Yep. Very likely to see Blink, possibly DTs.
Yeah, just based on the fact that they're both actually chrono boosting Cybernetics core, usually you end up seeing a Protoss player that's going for Blink chrono boost to Cybernetics core just because you want to have Warp Gate out to get up the Stalkers quickly, and really, if you try and go for a Dark Shrine, like you can imagine right now, if a Dark Shrine was thrown down right now and there wasn't chrono boost going on in the Cybernetics core, your Warp Gate would finish up way too early for your DTs to really do much. You might be able to warp in like a round of units, but you really want to save up that gas for the DTs. So generally, I think that it's going to end up being Blink in that situation, and we do actually end up seeing Blink.
Yeah, this is going to be fun when we see some Blink versus Blink, the Robo coming down from Peely.
HuShang gets the scout off, sees the Robo, sees the Twilight Council with the Mothership Core, but he does it at the cost of not only a lot of health on his Mothership Core, but the energy. So he's not going to be able to be super defensive with this. I feel like he's kind of has to be a bit aggressive now because, I mean, he's not going to have a Photon Overcharge to defend.
Well, I mean, like anything else, there is now a clock on it. There is a window of opportunity for Soul. I don't think he's looking to get too aggressive and take advantage of that, though. He doesn't have anything out on the map, and yeah, we do see the Nexus coming down from Peely. So he is going to be the defensive player here. Meanwhile, HuShang moving out. And we're going to see some sweet Blink on Blink action. The Blink timings are nearly identical, just a few seconds between the two. So no big advantage there either direction. The proxy pylon is finished for HuShang. He's going to start warping in, and it's gonna come down a lot to control here.
But I think it's very important to note that HuShang saw the Twilight Council and knows that Blink is out for his opponent, and I don't think that Peely really knows just yet. Now he's gonna know. Well, I mean, seeing the Stalkers, but
takes out an early Stalker. It's really important. He does get the. Oh wow, that was really close. He does get the Photon Overcharge down just in time, but really fast pickoffs from those Stalkers. This big mineral sink over here, making a big difference. And that pylon is gonna supply block him.
Oh man, the Stalker lead over here for HuShang is actually insane right now. He's up a solid 5 Stalkers. I mean, he was up to 8 Stalkers a second ago, and with his next reinforcement warp in round, should be even getting further ahead, especially considering he just supply blocked Peely.
Yep, Immortal just finishing up for Soul, the advantage of having that robotics up and running. And he's even gonna take some probes with him here. Feels like he needs a little bit of extra buffer, and here he goes. Waiting for the sentry to have enough energy to engage there with the Guardian Shield. Really nice move. It's a lot about this Immortal. He is going to focus it down. The Immortal gets... it's stuck. There was a Stalker in the way, and he couldn't pull back as his Immortal. Lots of fancy blinking coming down from both players. This is incredibly close. Yep, just barely.
Yeah.
Just barely. 7 to 8 stalkers right now. Nice defense from Peely.
Really nice defense from Peely. I mean, you have to remember, he was down a large number of stalkers, and sure, having the Immortal there is obviously very, very helpful versus Blink stalkers, but it definitely was able to do some good work before it finally got
Ooh, and he's
going
gonna
to
move
It's
out
going to
here.
get scary. Got to be careful with those
Fortunately,
stalkers.
he
Peely.
has Blink, but, you know, when it's Blink versus Blink, you have to be careful not to get Blunk. But, yeah, so as this game progresses on, the robotics facility going to be a really big deal for Peely, giving him that advantage and letting him fight back. But HuShang taking advantage of this time. He's been building workers where Peely has been not building workers, and the Nexus is already halfway done.
Yeah, I think he's just been trying to delay over here. And actually, an aggressive Blink to try and pick off the Observer, but ends up suffering quite some losses over there as Peely engages over here. And HuShang gonna have to back out. And I think he also lost his Observer. Yeah, he ended up losing his Observer there.
Yep, absolutely, and it's going to be the race home, blink and the run, and then we repeat this all the way back. He is getting a couple shots, and he might be able to pick off some stuff on his way home. In the meantime, what do we have for defense? The Oracles, good God, the Immortals, which are nothing like Oracles at all, are coming out of the robotic facility, and we will have a Nexus cannon available at that natural expansion. And are they just gonna trade expansions? Do we go back and forth? Now it's HuShang's turn. All right, you know what? I defended. I was bored defending. Let me attack. I want to defend for a little while. Okay, all right, great. And they agree. He's got enough for 2 photon overcharges here. He's got 1 Immortal out, and he's also got a Sentry, so the Immortal count is even. And that's going to go ahead and discourage him from making it. And it's 33 workers to 24, so HuShang in a great lead right now, especially. Oh, do we have an aggressive Blink into the main? I think we do.
HuShang doesn't see it. He doesn't see it yet.
Oh my God.
Wow, that is the perfect location. And this Immortal's
he's gonna jump right on the Immortal.
Oh my God, Mothership Core as well.
Yep. Oh my God, he gets an Immortal and a Mothership Core. He's also targeting down Stalkers. Blinks out. 2 of them got left behind for a second there.
One of them realizes that he got left behind.
Wow.
The other one does not.
And we have no Mothership Core rebuilding for HuShang. He's just going to opt to go for the Immortals.
Leaving 1 stalker up on the high ground, getting ready to see if there are any kind of aggressive Blinks up to the high ground once again. And HuShang going to be in a lot more trouble over here than he was a couple seconds ago, since he no longer has that photon overcharge going in his favor.
Yeah, and here we are. Is he going to make his move? He definitely is. Here we go. Couple of force fields in the right position.
These could be pretty problematic right now. The 2 Immortals for HuShang not really able to do a lot.
He's going to snipe that Nexus. Oh, he's going to pull back. Oh my God. He's going to pull back at the last second. Those 2 Immortals in the back doing work. The guard shield up, and he blinks away. And it looks like it's defended here. I really don't think he can engage too well with those 2 Immortals in the back, but he is going to go for it anyway. A couple Zealots in the front. Really useful. Oh, drawing that Immortal fire. Really important when they draw that Immortal fire away from the Stalkers. This proxy pylon. Really important part of Peely's attack here.
Yeah.
HuShang not going to overextend. Very patient.
Peely is still warping in. So, and, you know, his natural expansion is finally starting to finish up. So I think that Peely, he can try and, like, transition out, but I think he still has to do some damage. Just looking at the worker deficit, he is down almost 15 workers right now. He's got to do something, and I think he knows
he's absolutely got to do a lot of damage here. The Immortal stuck in the front. Oh, those Zealots are not long for this world. Easily picked off. That becomes the problem when you engage with Blink Stalkers and Zealots. You have to commit a little bit harder to that engagement. Nice blink up to the side to prevent that sort of engagement. And he's up to 4 Immortals on the bottom. You cannot break this with just Stalkers.
This is, and there's even got a couple Zealots over there, because normally what you want to do is try and blink on top of the Immortals, focus fire them down, but when there are Zealots there, it does discourage you a good bit, but yeah.
Ooh, it looks like he's trying to bait him out here. Look at that. Look at that nice little move. He's like, hey, look at my Immortals. They're all alone. Come blink on top of them. And then bam! You've activated my trap, Stalker.
Oh, Observer,
right,
actually.
And here we go. They're going to move in for it, and there's the trap. The trap is sprung, and he jumps away.
Oh, but actually, at the very last second, Peely actually gets a snipe off on the Observer. I want to note, we got a DT warping in over here for Peely. Where is it? There it is. Moving into the natural expansion, and is HuShang prepared for this?
Yeah, he was building Observers just as soon as he lost his Observer there, so this is going to get out mostly in time. Oh, especially if he's attacking a Warp Gate. That shouldn't be a problem at all. And he does get knocked down. In the meantime, though, Oh, it looks like he is going to get this Nexus. A lot of workers is really great, but if you're over 16, you really want to have more than one base.
Indeed you do. I mean, 45 workers on that one main base. Not going to be really high or effective for the next couple minutes. So I think that HuShang going to try and exploit the fact that he does have a very, very scary army. He moves in with the
just picked off another observer.
Oh my god. Oh, HuShang. He only had Immortals over there, so he couldn't do anything about it. Oh, that's actually really unfortunate. But he still has a lot of Stalkers. He can try to go back in, but how many observers does he have?
Just one.
I'm sorry. Okay, he has two. One just popped out, but neither of them are with his army. Oh my god, there's a DT picking away his army.
Fortunately, DT's not gonna be able to keep up with the Stalker. Shouldn't be able to kill too much. Might be able to get that Sentry if he's paying attention to it, but he is microing these Blink Stalkers over here. Oh, HuShang with the big Stalker advantage over here. And even a cannon coming in deals some damage. And this is where he needs to be able to come back. If he can claw back in the worker count, he is evening that out, and it is a pretty long distance to get back to his main, but this is a pretty big overextension. He's losing a lot of army for this. This big attack coming in. What do we have for defense? That is the sound that I make when there is not a lot for defense. And, oh god, 5 Immortals. Look at them crab walk their way down. They're going to annihilate everything. Pylons? No. Other pylon? Also no. Nexus? Definitely not.
I don't even know if HuShang actually needs the rest of his Stalkers that are on the other side of the map. In fact, with that force field over there, it's going to stop the Immortals from engaging on the left-hand side. Good force fields coming down, but I mean, all the Immortals in the back. Peely taps out as he knows losing that natural expansion is just a bit too much. And
beautiful game.
Yeah, really interesting game. I don't think I've seen a PvP for a while that involves so many trades of the natural expansion.
Yeah, that was very back and forth. You're like, all right, I'll attack, you defend, and then we switch it up, and it's just sort of a nice little PvP dance going on.
Yeah, and it's so fitting that it ends at the very end with the natural expansion of Peely finally being destroyed for the very last time.
For the last time, for the first time.
All right, well, we're going to be jumping to the analysis segment with not with Peely. We've already done an analysis segment with Peely for PvP. We're going to jump into the analysis segment with HuShang. So don't go anywhere. We will be right back. Hey guys, hopefully you enjoyed that PvP. Back here with HuShang for our final analysis segment. HuShang, what was going on in this PvP versus one of the other players on Breaking Out?
Yeah, this is a ladder game versus Peely. And this was, I think, the third ladder game we played in a row or something like that. So he'd been going for this Blink build quite a lot. So I expected him to do it on this map too. And he was also taking his natural before he would make Stalkers. And personally, I think this is really greedy, so I was just going to punish it this game. And we'll see how that plays out in a second. Okay, so at this point in the game, I know he's taking a natural, and that's why we're being really aggressive, because there's no way that he can possibly have more Stalkers than me. And this forces him to cancel his expansion. And also, it gives me quite a big lead, because now I can contain him and take my own expansion. And I think I make some mistakes here, because I think I should be able to just win the game, but I'm a bit over-aggressive, and in a second we're going to see that he ends up trading pretty well with my army, and then it turns into more of an even game. Okay, so at this point in the game, he's pulling probes, and I think the right call is to fight here, but after the game, I think it might have been better just to blink away, because although I kill a couple probes and also kill the Immortal, it resets the probe count quite a bit, and also he gets the Blink Stalker lead, which means that he can now take his expansion. So probably a mistake on my part, but either way, it's not like it put me behind or anything. And I would say I'm still like slightly ahead, if anything. So at this point in the game, I've expanded and Billy is doing a counterattack. And notice that I'm blind in this game, so I need to keep a careful tab on how many units he's making. But if we can survive and then also realize when he's expanding, then we're going to have a good lead. However, he blinks up into my main and I don't notice. I probably should have had a Stalker there. And this is going to allow him to kill an Immortal, or two even, I believe. So So he gets a Mothership Core right away, and he kills an Immortal. And I think he has a Stalker lead here, so he's able to kite my army pretty well and quite a bit. Fortunately, I get a Stalker there, and that was a really good trade for him. Unfortunately, I still have the Nexus, so it's not like I'm out of the game or anything. So now Pili's feeling a little bit desperate because I already have a natural up, and he feels like he needs to somehow regain the macro lead, or at least become even with me. So he's going to force field my army away and take a big risk and try to snipe my Nexus. Now I'm kind of waiting a little bit here because I don't want to blink in and then have him killing my Stalkers. So I wait till he's committed to killing the Nexus before blinking in, and then you'll see me focus down his Immortals. And by doing that, I force him to make a tough choice, whether to commit to that Nexus or to fight me. And he ends up fighting me, so my Nexus stays alive. And although we don't trade ideally, we still trade decently. And since he has only Stalkers and we have Immortals, I would consider this a pretty big win for us. And now all we have to do is counterattack with our Immortal lead, and we should be able to win this game. However, Pili has some tricks up his sleeve, so it doesn't go quite like that. And we're just going to see how that plays out in a second. So at this point in the game, I see that Pili is not committing, and I'm sort of waiting for TTs just because it's Pili. So as soon as I see this blur past my Immortal, I pull all my probes to the main because I know that you never make one ET, right? You want to do more damage than that, so you pull all the probes to the main, where the one observer is, and then I come all the way back down for the other TT. But that does allow him to snipe my Nexus, which means we're sort of in all-in mode now. But even though I'm in all-in mode, I still need to make that Nexus, just because of how new dynamics work. And then here I do something really stupid. I keep my Observer with my Immortals that don't shoot up.
Yeah.
So he ends up killing my Observer, which is like terrible. I should have just had that with my Stalkers, of course. And then he blinks away from my Immortals, so I don't actually know where he is right now. And that's why I checked the Watchtower here. I see his Stalkers aren't coming from the left, so I know he's going to go for a counterattack, which catalyzes my Stalker return to my base. And of course, he sniped my Observer, so I'm going to have to get another one. And I think he commits here. Yeah, he commits into my base. So at this point, I know the game's won because these Stalkers aren't getting out. And I still have like 6 Immortals on the map. So right now we're just going to chase these Stalkers down, and you'll notice that I'm also moving out with my Immortals. I think a lot of players would feel maybe unsafe doing this because it's like Immortals, right? And Immortals are pretty, even though they're really strong, they're not very strong by themselves. So if my opponent had like a large Zilla Force, that might be dangerous. But I know his Stalkers are my main, and I know he's behind economy, so this is actually pretty safe to do. And then I do exactly what he did to me. I just force his army away and then snipe the Nexus. And because after I snipe the Nexus, I have a bigger army lead, he's not going to have Nexus Cannon, so he knows the game's over.
Yeah, makes sense. Well, do you have any other kind of final thoughts about the PvP then?
I just want Pili to start playing less greedy, because I have to all-in him like every game on ladder. And I'm really trying to play macro, but it's like, Pili, man.
But I mean,
fault, you know?
Wouldn't you like him to have the same playstyle so that you can beat him when he's in the Breakout Invitational later on?
Yeah, that's true. So hopefully Pili doesn't watch my advice until after the breaking out, right?
Exactly. Because I've got to say, I'm just gonna say, players that actually have watched other players' shows tend to do a little bit better. I'm just saying. But with that being said, guys, thank you so much for the analysis. We're going to be jumping back to the interview segments. Don't go anywhere. We will be right back.